Hello, my name is Sonal and I'm a psychotherapist and a parent coach. And today I'd like to speak to you about something that's very alive in my own parenting journey, and that's how our shadow sides, the sides of the part of us that's unresolved, or the baggage from our past, our childhoods, things that limit us, get in the way of our parenting, and how that kind of passes on, and what legacy that leaves for our children. When I was in middle school, I think I read this sentence. It said, "The sins of the father are visited upon the son." It might be from the Bible, and I remember feeling so indignant about it. Like, that was so unfair, and it wasn't right, and how could, this be true? And it sounded very like punitive, the statement. And it took me to become a parent to realize what that meant. I think it was when I was doing my Montessori training that it dawned on me that it meant that whatever my limitations are as a father, or as a, from the statement, like, or as a mother, how that limits me in my parenting, and how that limits finally my child. And that's true of any relationship, because we bring our entire shadow and or baggage, or however you want to say it, into our relationships. Um, One clear example that comes to mind is when my husband and I had first gotten married. We were traveling to Greece, and he was in a conference and was gone all day. So all morning I had time to be at the beach, and there was this other young mother with a 4.5-year-old who was also at the beach. So we used to hang out together. And over a space of 2 mornings, I saw this child transformed from this really curious, um, this really curious 4-year-old who was interested in the water and the beach, and the waves would come in, and he would splash in the waves and go to the edge of it. And but this mother was petrified of the ocean, and she would stand quite a bit away, 10 feet away, and she would like agitate and say no and stop, and don't go close. And I'm saying, like, I used to say, like, I'm here, like, I watch him, and it's really shallow and it's fine. But her fear was so great that over the space of that morning, literally before my eyes, I saw that child develop an intense fear of the ocean. And the next morning when we hung out, he refused to go anywhere near the water. And by the third day, when all four of us were together and his father was holding him at the pier, and would go closer to the edge, to the railing, just to see the ocean, and the child was having none of it. He didn't want to go, even though he had the protection of his father, anywhere near it. And in so many big and small ways, this is such an obvious example, but in so many small and big ways, we transfer all of our baggage, our limitations, our sins. What I understand as sins is the shadow side of us, to our children. Another example is when my daughter started going to a school where exams were being held. Before that, she had never done exams. Um, my own anxiety began to rise, and I would sit with her, and I would get irritated, and I would get angry and snap at her. And it was really difficult for both of us. And I was passing on this anxiety of exams and things to her. And it took me quite some time to figure out that it was mine, it was nothing to do with her. It was the anxiousness that I used to feel around exams as a child, that was coming up in me. And because I didn't know how to handle it, I was then passing it on to my child. So as soon as I realized that, I took that into a different adult space and dealt with it, so that I could be the mother that my daughter needed, while she was preparing for her exams, instead of the scared child from back then who was showing up here and agitating, and um, making life difficult, not only for herself but also for her child. Um, so I guess this video is basically for us to reflect on that aspect of our shadows and how that limits our parenting. And it's an open invitation to you to share your stories, and also maybe to think about um, taking care of yourself and your needs. And of course, there are many spaces, basically what I would call a very broad umbrella category, self-development, yeah, for all of us as parents and as people. So, yeah, thank you.